Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we have a vintage ashtray advertising Abide Inc. Realtors. It says a multicolor advertisement with the graphic of an eye keeping watch, apparently, as it says, watching your interest. Ask for Gail or I.S. Farley. It's an interesting piece of advertisement. This ashtray was a gift to me a couple of weeks ago. My mother and my cousin were out running around to antique stores, vintage malls, and those kind of places. Ran across this ashtray. Can't remember exactly how much they said they paid for it, but it was somewhere in the single digits, I think $5 or $6. Some interesting things to note here on the advertisement. One is there is not an area code before the phone number. I don't necessarily read too much into that, as it wasn't all that long ago, at least before the advent of cell phones, so 25 years or so ago that we've all been carrying a phone around in our pocket. But before that, when you were dialing locally, you didn't need the area code. So I think it's possible that this advertisement was printed on the ashtray while area codes were in use, but they just didn't print it because the people that they were advertising to would have no need of using it. Typically here in Oklahoma City, that would have been the 405 area code. You can also see the address down at the bottom, 2944 Northwest 50th Street, Oklahoma City. And you can note from that there is no zip code. So it could be that this was printed before the advent of the zip code. It could be that they just didn't see that it was of particular use to the folks that they were advertising to. I don't believe that this business is still in operation, although there are a couple of similarly named realtors in Oklahoma City, not with the same logo. I did find an old advertisement from the Gaily Oklahoman, which is a play on words for the newspaper that was prominent here in Oklahoma City and statewide, which still very prominent. It's just now known as the Oklahoman rather than the Daily Oklahoman. It was the Daily Oklahoman, and then there was also the Oklahoma Times, which was an evening paper. And the Daily Oklahoman, sometime I believe in the 1980s, became the Daily Oklahoman and Times when they merged, and over time has just become known as the Oklahoman. So that 1980s advertisement in the Gaily Oklahoman had the same eye graphic along with the advertisement for Abide Inc. Realtors. Looks like three colors: the white background, black border, some black printing, as well as the eye being presented in black and white, and then with some of the printing also being in red. It says ask for Gail or I.S. Farley. Not sure if Gail's last name was Farley or what I.S.'s actual first or middle name was. I've met several folks who were known by their initials. Sometimes that is more convenient flows off the tongue more than others. IS does not seem like one of those names that would have just been convenient to call somebody by that name. Names like JD, JC, JP, those seem to be more conducive to that kind of usage, but for whatever reason, that was the advertisement that they put on this ashtray. Ask for Gail or IS Farley. So that must have been the two people that you wanted to talk to when you called that place. When you called the Abide Inc. Realtors and were looking for someone to keep an eye or watching your interest. That seems a little bit of a strange slogan for me to be attributed to a realtor. Seems more likely, at least in my mind, the way that the term interest is used, to have been used for a bank or banker or loan officer or something like that. But I understand that you have equity in your home. That is an interest of sorts as well. So I guess it applies. I don't know if that was maybe some kind of generic advertising that was offered on a national basis, which then they just put in the local information of that business, or if this was an actual slogan and phrase that Abide Inc. Realtors had come up with and decided to use on their own. Either way, it's a nice, eye-catching advertisement, and I don't have any idea really what period of time. I would say it was probably from the 1980s or before, simply because of finding the advertisement that I mentioned earlier from the Gailey, Oklahoman. But in reality, I think because of it not having a zip code printed on it or an area code, chances are that it was earlier than that. Zip codes became in usage in the early 1960s. I'm not sure about the area code. I think it may have been before that. But it is a standard formatted phone number, at least 7-digit, and there is some wear to the paint on the back. It's minor, and as I said, this ashtray was given to me by my mother and my cousin, so this will not be for sale. This will definitely be going into my personal collection, my growing personal collection of vintage ashtrays, most of them advertisers. And if they're not advertisers, then I typically like to find different shapes, different styles. And this is a style and shape of ashtray that I have not had before. It has 4 rests, relatively low profile. And as I said, while it does have somewhere to the painted advertisement, it is minor and really of no account to me, as this will not simply be displayed as part of my collection, but my collection of ashtrays invariably get used. Until next time.